Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar, 6 Steps for the Perfect Puppy. Quick introduction before we begin. My name's Tim Jackson, that's my ugly mug there to the left of your screen I should say. I am a qualified veterinary nurse. I started working with dogs at the age of 16 as an auxiliary nurse. I qualified in 2007, what seems like a very long time ago now, as a qualified veterinary nurse. Built my way up the ladder where I became head veterinary nurse at a local practice in Tyne and Wear. During that time, I also trained and qualified as a canine behaviourist. I'm now the director of the UK's greatest daycare. So Pets to Impress was established in 2008 when I was still working in practice. In 2014, I made the hard decision to leave practice and focus on my real passion, which was training and behaviour. 2015, we opened our first, hopefully not our last, daycare in South Shields. I'm also an author of 3 books: Take the Lead for the Perfect Recall, Help My Dog is a Devil with Other Dogs, and Help My Dog Doesn't Like Being Left Alone. Currently working on the 4th book. These 3 books are all available on Amazon as well if you would like to pick up a copy. There's links on the Pets to Impress website, www.petstoimpress.com. Little bit background information on Pets to Impress. So we are an award-winning daycare. So we opened our daycare in 2015 and we have won 5 awards over the last 5 years for being different, for being different to everyone else. And that's there's many a daycare out there now. This daycare is popping up all over the country. Many daycares, dogs go in, they go into an arena and they're just left to run around all day free. That's not how we run it at Pets to Impress. Our daycare is very, very different to everyone else. Our daycare is structured. We have routine. The dogs go out on adventures. We take them on school trips. They go down for naps. They go out on picnics. We do training with them, group training with them, individual training. We do scent work with them. All play is control play. And we have a very unique scent space, a room where dogs can go and make use of their most important sense, their sense of nose. We also run our puppy training and socialization classes. So the puppy training classes run on a Wednesday and a Thursday, 6 till 7. And then we also have our stay and play classes, which run on a Monday, 6 till 7. And a Saturday, we have our small and fluffy, which is ideal for puppies between 11 and 12. And then our big and bouncy, 12 till 1. We also offer a one-to-one training and a home boarding service. You'll get all the information you need on all of those services via our website. Again, the link is www.petstoimpress.com. Now that's out of the way, let's get on with what we will be covering in this webinar. So we're going to be talking about the 6 secrets on what you need to have a perfect puppy. We're going to be looking at positive reinforcement. We're going to be looking at diet. We're going to be looking at routine. We're going to look at a very important topic, and that's how to read your dog's body language. We're going to look at socialization, and then we're going to look at puppy school, whether it's good or bad for your puppy. So first of all, we're going to start on a topic that I'm really passionate about. Not that I like it, but I'm passionate on the kind of beginning of where dog training came from. So it's something called the dominance theory. And I'm sure everyone's heard of this. I'm sure you've heard, if you've Googled dog training, you've had dominance theory methods of training come up. There's still certain trainers out there that do sadly recommend the dominance theory. The dominance theory first originated in the early 1900s. So it was done by a Russian scientist who I will not try and pronounce their name. It was basically a study done on wolves that were in captivity. Now, these wolves weren't related. They were randomly picked from here, there, and everywhere. They were put into an enclosure and they were observed for their behavior. There was a lot of fights broke out over resources. So by resources, I mean sleeping areas, feeding stations, mates. As a result of this, the Russian scientists decided that wolves were a dominant species, and they were always trying to be the alpha, the one in charge. And because the dog is a direct descendant of the wolf, they too were labeled with this same dominant style. Okay, they too are believed to be a dominant species. All right. So the way people changed towards the dog changed very dramatically after this initial study. People started training their dogs and aiming to be the alpha, aiming to be the one in control of their dog. Now, certain things that dominance trainers would recommend to you is you should eat before your dog. You should leave a room before your dog. Your dog should never ever walk out of a room before you have. If your dog misbehaves, you should be pinning them down to the ground and holding them there till they're calm. Now, hopefully, as you're watching this, your head's shaking and you're thinking, you know, I don't want to do that. Good. That's the right attitude, the right answer. We don't want to be doing that because dogs are part of our family. We got them to be a part of our family, to love them, to care for them. We want our dogs to have trust in us. We want our dogs to have confidence in us. If every time they do something that we class as unacceptable, we pin them down, they're not going to have any trust in us. What's going to happen is they're going to actually develop a fear of you. They're going to be frightened of you. And then when a dog gets frightened, what happens? They use their teeth because that's their only form of defense. When this study first came about, and people started to implement the dominance theory, the amount of dog bites rose massively because dogs were scared. They didn't understand what the humans were doing. Will you get your dog to do something under the dominance theory? Yes, you probably would, but it's going to do it out of fear. And that's not right. We want a dog that does something because they want to do something. A dog that enjoys doing something. I'm a massive believer in getting your dog to do something voluntarily. We do it on their terms, kind of. Okay, they want to sit, they sit. But if they want a treat, they'll only get it if they sit. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we move along with the webinar. So very, very recently, obviously with modern technologies, we're able to get up close to animals in the wild. If you watch the likes of David Attenborough and things like that, you can see just how close we can get to these animals. Fascinating. I love David Attenborough programs. And a lot's changed. A lot's changed now. So now that we're able to get up the wolves course in the wild, there's actually no evidence to suggest that wolves are a dominant species. Wolves are very similar to you and I. They live in a family kind of group. So they've got mom, dad, and they've got the offspring. They work together. They work together as a group. There's no benefit in the alpha, which I guess we would associate as being the dad. Maybe the mom these days, it's the 21st century after all. But whoever, okay, well, if we say the dad would be the alpha male, all right? The alpha male, under the dominance method of training, would eat first. Now, what we've got to bear in mind is he has to ensure the survival of his pack. If he's eating first, how's that going to ensure the survival of his pack? It's not. They eat together. They work together. They hunt together. They work together as a pack. So, hopefully, by the end of this, you'll realize that dogs aren't a dominant species, wolves aren't a dominant species. Now, back in the 1980s, a lovely lady called Karen Pryor introduced the world to positive-based methods of training. So positive-based methods of training means your dog does something, dog gets something. Exactly the same as us. We go to work every day. Why? Because we want that reward at the end of the month, which is our pay package. Okay, that is positive-based methods of training. You've got to put in the work in order to get something. It's something called a learn to earn program. Okay, now Karen Pryor initially worked with marine animals, so dolphins and seals and sea lions and things like that. She used clicker training and whistle training. She then started implementing this on dogs, and surprise, surprise, she got a really positive response. And the way the world changed when it came to training dogs changed dramatically thanks to the work from Karen Pryor. People started to implement this positive-based methods of training. Dogs were starting to have more confidence in the owners. Dogs were starting to have more trust in them as well too. Okay, so sadly, there are still people out there that do train under the dominance methods of training. You need to try and avoid them. They mention the word dominance. If they mention the word alpha, run, 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 run. They are not the right people to help you with your puppy. Okay, get out of there. So, if we have a look at these pictures of some dogs, yes, we've got the complete extreme opposite in the bulldogs case to wolves, but they are completely different to wolves. Although we've established now that wolves are not a dominant species, dogs are not a dominant species, one thing that we do have to bear in mind is these are dogs. They're not wolves, okay? We need to treat them like dogs. we also need to make sure we don't treat them like babies, because they are not humans either. They are dogs. They are their own unique little species. Okay. We have a look at the ape. As humans, we are the direct descendant of the ape. We're going to have similarities, just like dogs have got similarities to wolves. However, we are completely different to apes. We are a different species. Dogs are a different species to wolves. That's kind of the message I want to try and get across to you. Okay. So when it comes to training your dog, think of them as a dog. Don't think of them as a wolf. Think of them as a dog. Don't think of them as a baby. Think of them as a dog. It's actually a picture of my ex-girlfriend. No, it's not. It's not really. Right. Moving on to the juicy stuff now. Nothing in life is free. Now, this is kind of the foundation of your puppy's training. Foundations are really, really important. You'll see behind me, me and my son do karate. We started off at the we probably made our way on green belt at the minute, and we hope we will grade in the next couple of months, and the green belt can go up on the board as well, and then we'll be on blue. But when it comes to karate, well, anything really, foundations are really, really important. You've got to start on the foundation in order to kind of expand and develop and get the best out of your puppy. You've got to make sure that them foundations are implemented. If you stick to this program, there's nothing in life is free program, you will never go wrong. Trust me on that one. But you've got to be consistent with it, as does everyone else in the household or anyone else that has any form of interaction with your puppy. So nothing in life is free. What does that mean? It means everything should be earned. Everything should be worked for. Okay, so like I've already said, us going to work, we have to do that in order to get our pay packet at the end of the month. Dogs are exactly the same. Sadly, we can't get them doing the housework or going, getting their monthly shopping or washing the car, but just getting them to do something simple, such as a sit. If they want something, if they're going to get a positive outcome for it, they have to work for it. Okay, so say, for example, it comes to putting their food down, make them work for it. Ask them to sit first, ask them to wait. When it comes to putting their lead on them, ask them to sit. A massive reward getting the lead on them because they're going for a walk. When it comes to opening the front door, taking them for a walk, get them to sit first. Once the door's open, I don't care who goes out there first, they can run out in excitement if they want to, providing they've done something to get that reward of being able to go out for a walk. Okay? I've already said this is how positive-based methods of training works. Okay, it's a learn-to-earn program. Dogs learn, right, I've got to do this in order to get that. Okay, and it's a great way to build up trust, confidence, and independence in our puppies as well, which is something we need. Okay, we don't want a puppy that's shy. We don't want a puppy that's constantly relying on us. We want a puppy that's going to develop confidence and build up trust and independence as it reaches into adulthood. And one thing I love about this particular program is it helps to create an everlasting bond between you and your puppy. Attention seeking. Puppies are great at attention seeking because they know what works. Dogs, puppies, they're very, very quick at learning. They know if I do this, it gets me that. Play biting, a classic example. Puppies learn, if I bite on that hand, that's going to get me some form of attention. Now, attention doesn't always have to be desired attention either. So even if you want to tell your dog off, or, and I'm not suggesting you would, smack 7 bells out them, I certainly would never advise that you do that, your dog's still getting attention. So that behavior that got them that form of attention, maybe it might not have been the desired, they will still repeat it again because they know it gets a response from you. Okay, you could give your dog 23 hours attention a day. When it comes to that final hour, they'll still want attention and they'll do everything they can to try and get your attention. Bear that in mind. Okay, one thing we need to remember with attention seeking behavior is attention should always be instigated by you. Okay, I'm not saying you can't love your dog. I'm not saying you can't give your dog attention. There's no point having a dog if we're not going to love them and give them attention. But attention should always be instigated by you. We need to ignore all attention-seeking behavior. So the likes of jumping up, barking, pawing, throwing toys on our laps, jumping on the settee next to us. This all needs to be ignored. Okay. Now there's 3 rules to remember when it comes to ignoring attention-seeking behaviors. Don't look at your puppy. Don't touch your puppy and don't speak to your puppy. If you remember those 3 rules, plus your nothing in life is free, you won't go wrong. What we need to try and do is kind of put our efforts into praising the good behaviors. I think as owners, we kind of automatically tune in on the negatives, the unwanted behaviors. But by doing that, we're reinforcing the unwanted behaviors. What we want to do is praise the good behaviors, the desired behaviors. By doing that, puppy will repeat them behaviors more. The behaviors they're getting ignored for will slowly start to disappear. Is it going to happen overnight? Of course, it's not going to happen overnight, especially if your puppy's had practice at displaying these unwanted behaviors. It's going to take a little bit of time and a little bit of patience. Okay, just remember, Rome wasn't built in a day. But if you remember those rules, don't look, don't touch, don't speak, nothing in life is free, you can't go wrong. Right, moving on then to the next part of our 6 steps is you are what you eat, talking about diet. Now, I'm not going to go into a massive lecture on diet food. I am a nutritionist. I qualified as a nutritionist when I worked in practice. Nutrition isn't my favorite topic. I'm not a massive fan of it. I just find it quite boring. I know what I need to know for the importance of training and behavior and things like that. But if you need any advice on your food, go and speak to the vet. The vets are the right people to speak to. Okay. One thing I would say is avoid supermarket diet foods. If you can pick it up in a supermarket, avoid it like the plague. So the problem with supermarket bought diet foods is, yes, it's convenient, but it's kind of equivalent to us having the McDonald's every day. It's not going to do our health very good. It's not going to do our mental state very good either. Same applies to dogs. Okay. The thing with your supermarket diet foods as well is they so if you pick up a bag and it says with chicken splashed on the front, okay, legally manufacturers only have to put in 4% of that main ingredient. So 4% of chicken. The rest of it can be made up with whatever, okay? And it'll be, you'll notice on the ingredients. So all dog food has to legally have a list of ingredients. You'll notice on the ingredients it says either meat or animal derivatives. Now that's all the leftover crap, things that we wouldn't class as fit for consumption. However, the manufacturers aren't breaking any laws. They're following that 4%. So that chicken, that 4% chicken, they're following the guidelines. They can now do whatever they want. The problem with your supermarket market diet foods is they're classed as mixed formulated. So every time you pick up a bag, the ingredients will be probably completely different. Apart from that 4%, apart from that main 4% of that ingredient, everything else will be different. Okay. You want to get your dog onto a better quality diet food. You want to be feeding them kind of like the Marks and Spencer's version of dog food. Again, speak to your vet. They will be able to advise you on this one. But I guess what I want from you guys today is have a look at what you're feeding your dog. If it is a supermarket diet food, get rid of it. Okay. Always weigh out the food as well. Always make sure you do weigh out your food legally. Diet foods need to have a feeding guide on the back of them or on the side, wherever. As long as there's a feeding guide, make sure you follow that feeding guide as well. Okay. Now, this might sound strange, but don't just feed your dog from a food bowl. All right. I very, very rarely feed my dogs from a food bowl. I do a lot of scatter feeds. I hide my dogs food in cons, or you order things from Amazon. You can order something this big and it'll come in like a box this big. I make use of them cardboard boxes. I put the kibble in there as well. I always make my dogs work for the food because they love doing it. The great form of mental stimulation. Mental stimulation is just as important as physical exercise. Take your dog out for a walk. And it actually tires your dog out more to use up here than it does using their physical energy. And it's the same with us. If we want to go, I don't know, say for a 1 mile run, we might get to the end of the mile and think, oh, can't do that again. Come back, put your feet up, an hour or two later, you could probably do that same run again. Whereas if you go home on a night time and you open a textbook and you physically got to think about what you're reading, give yourself half an hour, that'll be shut. You'll be ready to go to bed. Okay? Mental stimulation tires you out a lot more than physical energy. The two need to work hand in hand together. The thing I love about mental stimulation is if you want to do a 10-minute brain game with your dog, so a 10-minute scatter feed or 10-minute like little puzzle games you can buy for your dog, every 10 minutes is equivalent to an on-lead 45-minute walk. So it tires them out massively. Every morning, my dogs get fed via some form of puzzle game. whether it's in a Kong or wherever. And it means it keeps them occupied whilst I'm getting ready, seeing to the kids. And then once they're finished, they'll take themselves to bed because they're tired. And then I can see to the kids, get them to school, and then they're ready to go out for their walk or come to daycare with me. All right. So try not to feed your dog from a food bowl. Spice up the way you feed them. There's a couple of examples there now. I mean, if you go on the likes of Google and put in brain games for dogs or homemade brain games for dogs, you'll be inundated with different things. There's so many ideas out there, so many things that you can adapt on as well too. So now we're going to move on to the next part of the 6 secret steps. And this is a really, really important one as well, routine. Now, dogs are creatures of habit. They love to know what's coming next. They like a predictable routine. They like to know, right, this has happened, now this is going to happen. The reason that they like this is it's a great way to build up confidence. It's a great way to build up trust. It's a great way to keep anxiety levels reduced as well too. Okay, sadly, there's so many dogs out there that do suffer with stress and anxiety. This, by putting them in a routine, it's a great way just to keep them focused, keep them focused throughout the day. I think over the last few years with COVID and things like that, I think we can safely say how important routine is. When we, back in 20, I can't even know what year it is, back in 2020, when we had that first big lockdown where routine was kind of just thrown out the window completely, it was crazy. I didn't know what to do. I'm certainly a man of routine. This is why we have the routine at our daycare as well for the dogs, because routine plays a massive part. Now, routines for dogs should consist of 5 things. Number 1, the feeding times. We've already discussed the importance of spicing up the way you feed your dogs, okay? Don't just feed them from a food. Daily exercise. Dogs need to go out every single day. I don't care whether it's shutting it down with rain, gale force winds, snowing, they need to go out. You notice as the weather starts to get colder, certainly in South Shields where I'm from, you notice with the colder weather, there's less dog walkers out. So they must have these hibernating dogs that just don't need to go out in the winter. But then as soon as the sun's shining, every Tom, Dick and Harry's out with a dog. Dogs need to go out every single day. Dogs that don't get daily exercise, trust me, will develop behavioral problems, will develop training issues. You need to get them out. They need to be burning their energy off, okay? Ideally, we want 3 to 4 training sessions per day. So in an ideal world, your dog should be getting 3 to 4 training sessions. Each session should be around about 5-10 minutes long. Always start the session with something good, so something positive that you know your dog can do. So 9 times out of 10, that's the sit. Always end the session with something you know your dog can do. So again, the sit. So we're starting on a positive, we're teaching them, we're ending it on a positive. In between, start teaching them new things. Don't just stick with the basics. The basics are important. So already mentioned, foundations are very important, but then we build on them. So once you've developed a sit and stay, try and adapt on that. Okay, once you've worked on a lie down, maybe then work on a roll over. Okay, always look at new things that you can teach your dog. Certainly going back to the first lockdown, I did some basic little dancing routines with my dog Buddy, who I had at the time. Well, I've still got him. I've got B now, but I only had Buddy at the time. But we did some little dance routines. If you have a look on YouTube, you'll see some of them videos up there as well too on our press page. Next part of the routine is regular playtime sessions. So again, in an ideal world, we want 3 to 4 playtime sessions per day. Now, what I would say is for this, we would have a kind of a special toy that only comes out for playtime. All right. So remember though, nothing in life is free. Your puppy wants to play with this special toy, they have to work for it. Sit down, give a paw, and then we're going to engage in some playtime with them. Okay, so we're always going to engage in some playtime with them. When the session comes to an end, obviously we need to remove that special toy. We do so by swapping with a high value treat. Okay, so puppy learns, okay, that's going away, but I'm going to get something as a result of that as well too. Okay, the good thing about training and playtime sessions, I'm not going to go too complicated with what goes on internally. With training sessions, every time your dog gets rewarded for doing something good, that encourages a release of dopamine in the brain, which is kind of a happy chemical. It encourages them to repeat that behavior. Every time your dog's engaged in some playtime with you, that encourages the release of oxytocin, which is a great hormone that counteracts any stress hormones as well. So both your training and your playtime sessions are great at keeping your dog internally happy, okay, which is a very, very important thing. We need to make sure that they are happy on a regular basis, okay, or every single day. And then finally, most important is quiet time. So dogs like us need to have rest, okay? They need to have that quiet time during the day, all right? We know what we're like if we don't have a good night's sleep. We can be grumpy, we can be grouchy. Dogs are exactly the same, all right? We need to make sure that they have enough quiet time throughout the day. If they take themselves to the bed, don't disturb them. That's their area. Let them go there, let them sleep, okay? Especially if there's children in the house. Try not to let them disturb the dogs when the dogs are sleeping. It's important that they get their rest, especially being puppies as well. Okay, right. We are now going to move on and talk about a topic that, again, I'm really passionate about. That's how to read your dog's body language. I believe all dog owners should know how to read dog's body language. By doing so, you're going to be able to get your dog out of tricky situations. Okay, you're going to be able to help your dog. You're going to be able to understand your dog. Your dog's going to have more confidence in you because they know my humans can speak dog. Dogs are great at reading us. Dogs are great at picking up on our body language. It's the other way around that we're not so good at. We're not so good at picking up on their body language. So I'm kind of going to be going through some of the basics today on certain things that you need to be looking out for, okay? We're going to start by talking about something called the ladder of aggression, okay? So when a dog's in kind of a stressful situation, they can display certain behavior. So if you have a look at this ladder, at the lower end of the ladder where you've got the yawning, blinking, nose licking. So if we look at the green arrows, okay, they are classed as calming signals. So that's the dog's way to say, I don't want any trouble, leave me alone, back off. Now, what normally happens is we ignore those signals, okay? So the dog's forced to escalate up the ladder. They then will display another behavior. So that could be, I don't know, let's say the dog started yawning, blinking, licking its lips, okay, or licking its nose. That hasn't worked. Now we're going to escalate up the ladder. It's going to start walking away. That hasn't worked. It's now going to stiffen up and start staring at the threat. That hasn't worked. So it's going to escalate again. It's going to now start growling. Oh, that worked. Champion. Now I've found a behavior, says the dog, that works. So the next time the dog's in that situation, he will skip all of the lower ends of the ladder. Why? Because they haven't worked for him in the past. They've failed to get him a result. The growling, however, works. Dogs learn from association. Dogs learn, they do this, it gets them that. Okay, so if he growls and it gets him the response, i.e. that stress or threat backs off, champion. He's going to use it time and time again. Okay, we really need to understand how our dog's body language. Okay, in particular, the early stages of this ladder. I guess we all are familiar with biting, snapping, and growling. We know that they mean the dog's not happy, but we need to be able to look at the lower end of this ladder and be able to recognize those signals as well. Okay, so yawning, blinking, nose licking, turning the head away. Now, the thing to remember is you've got to also look at the full situation, the full picture. Okay, so for example, if your dog's lying on the settee on a night time and he just lifts his head and has a little yawn, probably just tired. If he's nice and relaxed, he's probably just tired. If your dog comes in from the kitchen after just having his grub and he starts licking his lips, doesn't probably mean he's stressed. It probably just means he's getting the last few crumbs off his beard. Okay, you've got to kind of look at the full scenario, at the full picture. Okay, don't just look at one thing. Many people would say to me, oh, well, my dog's wagging his tail, so he must be happy. A tail wag can mean so many different things. All right, don't be put off by or misled by a tail wag. Tail wags can mean a number of different things. Okay, you've got to look at the full picture. You've got to look at exactly what's happening from head to tail. Okay, by being able to speak dog and understand what they're trying to portray across to us, it means if they display any of these early warning signals, we can kind of get them out of tricky situations. By doing that, puppy's going to build up trust. You're going to build up confidence in us as our owners, because they know that when they're in a situation where they're not happy, right, okay, I just need to display these early ends of the ladder. My humans are going to get me safely out of this situation. Okay, so bear that in mind, the ladder of aggression. Okay, we certainly don't want to be seeing puppies reaching the top end. We want to try and intervene and help them when they're in that lower end of the ladder. So a couple of examples now, okay? If we look at this little chap, this dog is displaying something called the play bow. So again, we're going to kind of look at the full scenario, look at the full picture, okay? So this is kind of an invite to play, okay? If you look at the full picture, everywhere is quite loose on the dog. The dog's inviting potentially another dog or person to play. Ears are down forward. The dog's got its mouth open, but it's not displaying its teeth. Eyes are clearly focused on the prize. I wouldn't be bothered about, I wouldn't be worried about this dog. I'd in fact probably want to engage in some playtime. Whereas if we look at this dog's very hunched down to the ground, very low, tails down. You can see the dog's got all of its weight on its back legs as well. There's a slight paw lift in there as well. If you notice that on the ladder of aggression, that's a calming signal to say I'm not happy. Ears are pinned right back. You can see the dog's not actually looking at that person as well too. So the head's kind of shifted a little way away from them as well. This dog's not happy. There's a good chance that this dog could potentially bite. This dog will definitely bite. This is not a happy dog. Okay, this is certainly not a happy dog. This dog is not happy at all. This dog, for whatever reason, whatever is on the other end of that camera, that dog wants. Okay, you can see the dog's shifted its weight to its front end of its body, so it's ready to pounce. Ears are back. It's showing its teeth. It's got crinkled nose as well too. This dog means business. You don't want to get on the wrong side of this dog. If you have a look at this little puppy, this puppy's a little bit shy. Okay, so again, we're kind of backing away a little bit. Slight little paw lift there as well too. You can't really see it, but slight little bit of paw lift, weight on its back there. Ears are a little bit back. You can just see in the corner of the eyes too, the little whites of the eye. That's something called whale eye. Okay, so that's when a dog's trying to avoid looking directly at something. Okay, could this dog bite? It's frightened, so yes, it potentially could. We look at this little Jack Russell, a Parsons Terrier, I think it's a Russell. If we look at this little Jack Russell, this Jack Russell's very happy. Okay, now rolling over could potentially mean that the dog's submissive. But if we look at the full situation, dog's on the grass, he's having a good back scratch, isn't he? He's got his mouth open, his body's very, very relaxed. He's a happy little chap, okay? He doesn't mean any threat to me. We have a look at this one. So this person obviously thought, wow, what a great selfie with my dog. The dog's not happy. Look at that whale eye. Look at the avoidance. The puppy is deliberately trying to look out. The dog is deliberately trying to look away from that owner. Not a very happy dog. I wouldn't be surprised if the dog tried to bite him once he took his pitch, once he'd taken that pitch. So the most common warning signals to look out for is yawning, shaking, lip licking, whale eye, paw lift, avoidance, ears back, and panting. But remember, we look at the full situation. So again, you've just brought your dog in from a run and the panting doesn't mean they're stressed, just out of breath, they've just had a good run. Okay, you've got to look at the full scenario when it comes to reading your dog's body language. But this, as with everything else we've discussed so far, it's not more important, because we need to be able to let our puppies know that they can trust us. They have confidence in us. By being able to speak dog, you're going to get that trust and you're going to get that confidence. And you're going to be able to quickly and safely get them out of any tricky situation. Socialization. So what is socialization? Socialization is the process of introducing your pup to new sights, sounds, and experiences. It helps them get used to the big open world, and it teaches them to be confident in new situations. So what do we need to get our pup socialized? We need to get them used to handling. So being handled by yourself, by the vet, by the groomers, used to being brushed, used to having collars and leads putting on them. We need to get them used to noises as well. So obviously there's certain noises you can't predict, such as thunder, fireworks. However, you can get CDs with these noises on, okay, to build up confidence with your puppy, okay? Hoover, washing machine, dryers. These are all noises that you need to be getting your dog used to. Taking them out, getting them used to when buses release the pressure, when they park and are pulling release the pressure on motorbikes, lorries. All these are different noises that we need to be thinking about getting our puppy socialized with. Locations and experiences. Don't just stick to going around the streets, go to different places. You need forest walks, you need beach walks, you need to stick to your street walks as well. But you ideally want to try and go to different areas, okay? You want to be looking at meeting different people as well, different aged people, people with different disabilities, people in wheelchairs, people with walking sticks, people with pushchairs. The more people you can get puppy to meet, the better. We want to be looking at different surfaces as well, so water, stones, sand, your concrete drains, and as well as different animals. Okay, so certainly different dogs, also wildlife, farm animals, things like, well, I say wildlife, there's only so much wildlife you can get socialized with, and like maybe squirrels, squirrels and seagulls around South Shields. That'll be as lucky as you get, maybe the odd pigeon. But yeah, but like horses, farm animals, and things like that as well. Okay, the list literally goes on. If you go on Google and just put socialization list for puppies, you'll be inundated again with different types of information. All right. So the golden rules when it comes to socializing your puppy: time is of the essence. Okay, you don't want to be leaving it too late either. You want to be starting from day one. As soon as you can bring puppy home, that's when the socialization aspect should be starting. Okay, socialization is a process though, so don't just think, right, okay, I'm off this weekend, I'm going to go and get puppy used to all these different noises, all these different locations, all these different people, because that's not going to do any good. Okay, you've got to go at your pup's own pace. You've got to work at their pace and take your time. Okay, you want to make sure that you implement positive reinforcement. So, I don't know, let's say you go to the beach, somewhere puppy's never been before. A lot of puppies struggle on the sand. They think, oh, what's this? Okay, make it positive. Take your dog's favorite toy with you. Use treats. Do a training session. Let them see that it's a positive place to be. Okay, if your puppy is showing any signs that they're not happy, don't force them into a situation. Okay, don't force them into a situation just because you think they need to get used to it. If they're not happy, take a step back, go back at a later date, focus on something else. Okay, as I've said, socialization is a process. It's not something that you want to rush. You certainly shouldn't be rushing it, especially if you want to get the best out of your puppy as well. Okay, so how daycare can help with your puppy's training and social skills. Now, obviously, when it comes to a daycare, you do need to be looking for a daycare that's right for you. Okay, if you visit the Pets to Impress website, you can actually download a free guide on what you shouldn't be looking for when choosing a daycare. All right, so have a look at that. The thing with daycare is it's great at helping improve obedience with the ability to follow instructions. It's a great opportunity for your dog to make use of their natural senses. So obviously I'm only going to talk about the Pets to Impress daycare, but we use a lot of brain games. We do scent work, which is great, a great form of mental stimulation. Great. Scent work is probably one of the best forms of mental stimulation that you can provide for your puppy. It's a great way to increase your puppy's awareness, alertness, and sharpening of the mind. It offers better health and fitness as we take them out on adventures. We do our school trips, etc., etc. It offers a great increase in self-esteem for nervous and anxious puppies. We've got some lovely older dogs now that started with us as puppies who are a little shy to begin with. They are completely the extreme opposite now. They are way confident because of the process that we implemented whilst they joined us at AD. Again, as with everything that we've done, it's another great way to increase puppies' trust and confidence, and it's a great outlet for working high energy and active breeds. I would say all puppies are high energy and active breeds, but it's a great way just to mentally and physically stimulate them in a controlled environment. And as I said, if you choose a daycare such as Pets to Impress or structured, it's all routine-based as well too. And if there's things at home that you're struggling with, such as your sit-stay, your lead train, and your recall, these are things that we can work with you whilst your puppy's at daycare as well too. Okay, and we'll report back any progress that we've been making, and we'll talk to you what you need to be doing at home. Okay, so it's kind of a way that we can help you a little bit further as well. Okay, right, we're going to move on to puppy school now. Puppy school, whether it's good or bad. Okay, now the thing with puppy school is training is essential for setting your pup up for success. Okay, many people think, right, I've got a puppy, I must go to puppy school because I need to do the socialization. Yes, socialization is important, but training is essential for your puppy's success. Puppies need training on a regular basis. Okay. The thing with puppy school is it's a controlled environment. You take your dog to the park or the beach, as fun as it might be, it's not controlled. Other dogs might run up to your puppy and scare them. Okay. You risk a lot of issues by taking your puppy to busy places just because you want to socialize them. Okay. You're best to do it in a controlled environment, such as a puppy school. Classes are a great place to practice training around distractions as well. There's so many distractions in a puppy school because you've got other puppies, you've got other owners. But certainly if you come to our puppy school, we run it in our daycare arena. So there's different smells, there's different things to see as well too. So there's a lot of distractions. And I think that's important. If you can get puppy to do things with distractions, you're laughing. Good thing about going to a puppy school is you've got a trainer there that can give you real-time feedback on your training technique. So they can say to you there and then, timing was a little bit off there, or right, that's great, but let's do it this way to see if we can get a quicker and better response from your puppy. Puppy school is great at helping prevent mistakes. Again, the trainer's there so they can show you what you need to be doing. But if you follow the structure of the training course, you're not going to go wrong. And one thing I love is it's a great place to meet new puppy owners, experiencing a lot of the time the same issues as you. So we get obviously a lot of people come to our puppy school, and during then you'll have one and say, well, my dog does this. Oh, well, mine does that. I thought I was the only one. Most issues that you're having with your puppy, trust me, everyone else in the area that has a puppy will be having the same issues as well. Thing with puppy school as well, as with everything, and this is really important, I've repeated this a lot throughout this webinar, but the thing with puppy school is it's going to help build on that bond between you and your puppy as well. There's so many out there. Which one are we going to choose? You want one that obviously focuses on positive-based methods of training. So remember what we discussed at the beginning. If there's any form of dominant style methods of training, avoid, run, run, run. Ask your vet for recommendations. Ask friends, neighbours, and read online reviews. I'm a sucker for reviews. I always like to go and check reviews. If I'm staying somewhere, I check reviews. If I'm buying something, I check reviews. I think that's just what many people do these days. Ask to watch a class as well. Okay, so ask to watch a class. If you're interested in a puppy school, say, can I come along for one lesson to watch to see how the class runs? If they say no, why are they saying no? We would certainly always allow people to come in and watch our class. Is it clean? Do they make sure that your puppy's vaccinated? Is the area cleaned before and after the pups attend? If so, what with? Is it something that's going to help kill any viruses, bacteria, fungi? Is it calm and controlled? Are puppies running here, there, and everywhere? Or is it more calm, controlled, and collected? Is there a limit on numbers? So you've got certain puppy classes where they will literally just allow anyone in. Okay, as many as they can fill. We have a special limit. We have a certain limit on each day. So we run the way our classes work is we run them on a Wednesday. Once that's full, so we have 6 spaces. Once that's full, we then move on to the Thursday, and again, there's 6 spaces on there. We want to make sure that you guys, your puppies, get the best from the course as well. We don't want you being in a room filled with other puppies. We want it so that everyone's getting the best of it. Okay. Is there a structure to the course? That's important, very important, all right? You want to make sure that there's a structure. You want to make sure that from week 1 to however many weeks, it's normally 6 weeks that many courses do, you want to make sure there's a structure. Okay, again, there's many classes in the area as well too that you would go to, and every week it's an open class, so you don't have to book. Oh, you can just turn up this week, you don't have to come next week, you can come the week after. And every week they're just teaching, either going over things that they've already done, teaching something new, but there's no structure to it. Structure is very, very important. Okay, and what you need to remember too is other courses run by a qualified trainer, not just someone that's had experience with dogs, or not just someone that's worked with dogs all their life. You want someone that's qualified. Okay, think of it this way: if you are unwell, you're not going to go. I know many people do go on Facebook and say, oh, I've got this. Or many people go on Google, but really we should go to a doctor, okay? Because they're qualified to help us, okay? If your car breaks down, certainly me, I wouldn't have a clue. I'm going to go to a mechanic. someone that knows what they're doing, someone that's qualified to be able to help me. The same goes with puppy training classes as well. Okay, you want to make sure that your classes are run by qualified trainers. Ask to see their qualifications as well. Ask what qualifications they've got. If they've got none, run. You don't want to go there. You want someone that's using up-to-date methods of training, someone that can help you throughout the beginning stages of your puppy. Okay, because that's important. If you go to the wrong place, you risk causing a lot of issues for your dog down the line. So our puppy school, we have 3 different options. We have our standard course, which is a 6-week puppy school. They, as I've already said, run on a Wednesday and Thursday. Week 1, we do a little bit of a seminar where we talk about all the do's and don'ts of having a puppy. And from week 2, the training starts with puppies. We cover everything you need to know, from your basics to your lead training, your recall. We then have our Puppy School Plus. So the Puppy School Plus course includes the 6-week Puppy School Plus, includes the 6-week Puppy School, but it also includes a 4-week advanced course. So once puppies graduate from the 6-week course, they would then move on to a Tuesday class for 4 weeks. During that time, we do some low impact agility, we do some scent work, we focus massively on lead and recall, and then we also do an outdoor lesson as well. So we take all the work that we've learned over the 9 weeks or 10 weeks, and we take it outside the real world. You can have a puppy that responds really, really well in a puppy environment, take them outside, a different kettle of fish. Okay, so that's why we do an outdoor lesson. We've then got our Puppy Perfection course. The Puppy Perfection course includes your 6-week course. It includes the 4-week Puppy School Plus course, but it also includes a 1-to-1 lesson as well, where we come to you. Once you finish the 10 weeks, we'll come to you and work on any particular issues that you are having with your puppy. Okay, so that's the different options we have available. They are all recorded on the website, again, on final time, www.petsroompress.com. To book, all you need to do is give us a call. There are limited spaces. We fill up very, very quickly at puppy school. So do get us, if you are thinking about getting a puppy, you've just got a puppy, don't leave it till the last minute. Ring today, get them booked in. The numbers are on the website as well. Okay. Are you ready to make the next steps? What you've got to remember is what I've taught you is the foundation of any dog's training. Okay, not just puppies. I work with dogs of all ages. Okay, this is the foundation of any dog's training. Okay, and it's the exact same system I've taught hundreds and hundreds of dog owners over the last 14 years. Okay, it's a system that works. It's a system that's proven to work. There's evidence out there to show that dogs like routine. Dogs like positive-based methods of training. There's a lot of evidence on diet. You are what you eat. Make sure that you are implementing all of these changes. Okay. So now that we've kind of gone through all of these basics, the next step is now up to you. Okay. It's now up to you to think, right, what do I want next? The next stage will be looking at trying to get your dog onto a puppy, trying to get your puppy enrolled onto a puppy school, looking at daycare, looking at socialization classes. Okay, what you've got to remember is training can be tricky. Okay, it doesn't happen overnight. Okay, there's so many people out there that struggle with their puppies. You don't need to. Okay, there's help available. Okay, the thing with puppy school, especially if you go to a reputable puppy school, you're going to make a lot faster progress as well too. Okay. So that brings us to the end of today's webinar. Hope you enjoyed it. If you do have any questions, you are more than welcome to drop me an email. You can find a contact section on the website. Drop me an email with any questions and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Any questions, you know where I am. Thanks now. Bye-bye.